Okay, everyone, we're going to get started. Thank you so much for joining us. This lunch session is for about new tools for reporting and fact checking. So we're going to go over some new and old tools for you. I'm Ashley Edwards. I'm a news partner manager at Google.
Hi, I'm Mary Nahorniak. I'm the U.S. Teaching Fellow with the Google News Initiative.
And our contact information is on that cheat sheet, but we'll have it for you again later.
I'll bring that back up, don't worry.
So the goals of the Google News Initiative is to advance the practice of quality journalism, strengthen and involve publisher business models, and cultivate a collaborative global news community. So the GNI is in 119 countries. Over our lifespan, we've provided 300 million in global funding. We've worked with over 6,000 news publishers, and we've trained 2.5 million journalists.
We're going to add like 40 after this.
Yes.
So you are part of that number.
All right, so if you didn't get a chance to scan the QR code, it's on the screen again, just for another minute. And what we're going to go through today are fact-checking tools, Pinpoint, and data extraction.
So we will show you a lot of things, and don't feel like you have to get all the screenshots, write everything down. It's all in the cheat sheet, plus contact information if we forgot something or you have questions. I see phones are down, so I'll move to the next slide, which we're going to start with a game.
Yeah, so just to warm everyone up, we're going to start with a little fun game of which face is real. Okay, there are a lot of AI generating tools out there right now, and it's very easy to fall for things. So please, with a show of hands, which one of these faces is real and which one is AI generated? Is this one real? Who thinks it's real? And who thinks this one is real?
We have more votes for number 2.
Okay, so Mary, do you want to do the reveal?
Good job.
That is the real face. So just some tips. We're going to go through this a little bit more, and this will work into what we're going to train on. But some ways to tell a face is AI generated: take a look at the teeth, the ears, and sometimes the background. There will be like weird warping. So like right here, it's kind of covered, but you can see some weird warping by the ears, and then like the teeth right here. You can kind of see it. We'll do a few more. Okay, who thinks this one is the real face? Who thinks this one is the real face? Okay.
So
again, this one is the real one. Take a look at the teeth. Usually is a telltale sign. And you can even see here by the color, it looks a little strange. And then there's something a little off with the stare sometimes with AI generated images.
One more.
Okay, we're going to do one more. This one, okay. Which one? Who votes for this one? As the real face. You think this is the real face. And then this one. All right. The reveal. This is the real face. So again, it's the teeth are the kind of the giveaway. If the teeth kind of look like blurred together a little bit and look kind of like a blob, that's a usual telltale sign. Also, if you look here at her ear, it looks like a blob. So with a lot of, you have questions? Sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. We might need this mic then.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So this is a helpful tool because with a lot of fake accounts, like you'll see fake Facebook accounts, X accounts, things like that, they will use AI generated photos of people. So if you're trying to figure out if an account is real or not, and you want to start with a photo, maybe reverse image search the photo. And if it's nowhere else on the internet, maybe that's one sign of it being AI generated. But also if it takes you to that website that is like generates fake faces, and that's kind of like, that it's fake. All right, so we're going to start with something most of you have probably seen, but if you're not, reverse image search. You can use image files to perform a reverse image search in Google to see where else that photo has been. So you can use an image URL or upload the image directly into Google Images. So for example, you can reverse image search this and see where it comes up. So as you can see, it doesn't really come up anywhere on the internet. It will show you maybe some similar photos, but that it could be a sign that it is reverse AI generated. So here's some new features with reverse image search. It's called About This Image. So in addition to showing you the image where else it is on the internet, it will tell you information about when the image was first indexed by Google, where it may have first appeared, and where else it appears on the internet. So a common tactic of misinformation is to use photos out of context, for example. So if you reverse image search an image from a fake news story and it says like this just happened, but it comes up, you know, from a couple years ago, that's a sign that it's manipulated information.
So, there you go. I'm going to search for an image. Who has had a chance to stop by and see the Ellsworth Kelly building that's part of the Museum of Art next door? Anyone? I went yesterday. It is incredibly cool. So I'm just going to search for that. Here it is. It's called Ellsworth Kelly Austin. The name of the work is Austin. I'm going to go to my image results. So this is what it looks like. It's just like 20 feet that way. I'm going to click on any of them. And then from here, so everyone can do this, and this is a new public facing, not just for journalists, piece of information that gives us some more details about a photo. And so as I click on this 3-dot menu, this works on phones as well, and I click about this image, the first thing I see is I can just learn that a version of this is about 5 years old. So this is really helpful new information that was not previously available on Google. If you wanted to figure out how old something was, you would have to go back in time, like chunk by chunk, which you can still do. But now we can just very quickly see, this helps us understand if something is real or if it was dreamed up yesterday or generated by AI a week ago. We can now understand how old something is. So this is meant to be easy for anyone to find out more about an image, particularly in an election year. Lots of global elections this year, lots of mis and disinformation. So that one is new as of, I think, a couple of months ago. So you may not have seen this one yet.
And on that note, now this is even newer based on like a couple days ago. You can now see if an image was made specifically with Google AI. So this will now be, it'll be indicated prominently when an image was made with a Google AI product. This doesn't work for other AI products. So like there's a lot of other AI generating software out there, but specifically with Google. So for example, this is a photo of a butterfly that was made with Google AI. So you'll be able to see it right there. Just tap those 3 little dots. So this is another fun one, an image floating around of dinosaurs on Mars. Maybe a little less believable than the butterflies, but you never know. So as you can see in the image, we just scroll down and right there, the credit created with Google. So a lot of images won't be as fantastical as this, like the butterfly is a little bit more believable, but you'll be able to tell with that. I saw a hand. Yeah.
The way that I've had it explained is you can think of it like a watermark. I don't actually know how it works, which I think is what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like if somebody were to generate something.
Yep. Mm. Ooh, that's such a good question.
That's a great question.
I have to assume yes, but I don't know that for sure. I would love to experiment with that after we're done here. I think we can figure that out pretty quickly. Cool, good question.
Another question?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Right.
Like,
Yes, it's not a watermark that's like pressed onto the photo. It's in the metadata. I think the screenshot is an interesting use case. And so it sounds like, Richard, your understanding would also be that it would still show with the credit. Yeah. And another question.
Yeah, actually, Richard might be able to answer this. Is there a copyright that carries through Google or with a Google AI generated image, or is that sort of open access?
So for folks on Zoom, so we were just talking about is how does copyright work with an AI generated image? And essentially what we tell folks in trainings, because there are so many tools where you can create images, whether that's Google Earth, any of the AI tools, et cetera, is just read what it tells you to do, right? And there may be different policies per tool or how you use it as journalists or commercially, a lot of different things. So just take a look at the copyright language. Thanks for the great questions. Are there questions from Zoom? Yeah. Yes, I will do a better job of that. Sorry, hybrid folks.
So another tool that we have is Fact Check Explorer, which is a searchable database of available fact checks on different things that are going on the internet. So you can go to Fact Check Explorer, type in something that you're seeing trending and see if there's a fact check on it. So for example, one of the first fact checks right here, eggs, fruits, oats are unhealthy breakfast. So there's some fact, I guess there's maybe something floating around about how this is unhealthy to eat. And then here's a fact check that was recently uploaded on this. Okay, so very relevant to election season. This is a claim that over 2 million people in Texas, Pennsylvania, and Arizona have registered to vote without photo ID. And as you can see from these various fact checks, that is false. So especially during election times, you're going to see a lot of claims floating around that you yourself might want to fact check. And a good place to start to see if it has already been fact checked is Fact Check Explorer. Question? Yes. So for those on Zoom, the question was, how do we scrape the fact checks? We actually have like a markup tool that developers on the back end can add to. It's a little technical, but we'll give you the information on that can be used to indicate to Google that your content is a fact check or contains fact checks. So after this, we can give you the information on that as well. And we're going to show on the screen where it is. Yeah, of course. Yes. So for those on Zoom, she asked if there's a verification process on the fact checks that are in our repository. Yes, we work with several big fact checking organizations that accredit different fact checkers, and that's how we do that. So we can give you the information, like if you want this on your website, we'll give you the information on how to do that. And another good point is that you have to be in Google News in order to be able to use this and come up. So we're not just like adding fact checks to like any random scammer on the internet. Yes. Okay, so another new part of a Fact Check Explorer is that you can now search Fact Check Explorer for images. This is available to everyone now. As of last week, that you can search this much like a reverse image search, but you can search an image right in Fact Check Explorer. So let's do an example. This is one of my favorite. Every time there is a storm or a hurricane in the US, this picture starts trending of a shark swimming on a flooded highway. This may seem funny, but like a lot of people fall for this. My husband fell for this like a couple of months ago, where he sent me this photo. It's like, did you see what happened in Florida? I'm like, yeah, I did. I also saw this photo for like the past 10 years. So now you can search an image right in Fact Check Explorer. So as you can see, you upload that and you can see that this comes up. There's a lot of fact checks from September 2022. And if we do an image context on this, we can see this photo has been floating around for a very, very long time. So the image context part is not available. It's a closed beta that you can all sign up for. We'll give you the information. So this part is not available for everyone just yet. But like I said, you can see an image. The image context shows that this was first indexed by Google in 2011. So even though it's popping up every year, and it may seem like we all know this is fake, but a lot of people do not. For a lot of people, when they see it, it's the first time they're seeing it. So this is a good way to fact check this sort of content. So we're going to show where you can sign up for this beta. And for those on Zoom, we can send this information as well. Yeah, it's all on the cheat sheet to apply for the beta to see this. Great, and Mary's going to take over for Pinpoint now.
All right, as we switch gears to a whole other tool in person, just check in for any questions. So the question from Zoom is, can we use the links to fact check videos that circulate on social media? No, it needs to be an image upload. What you could do is use a tool like InVid, or just take a screenshot as you play a video, like we kind of saw in the previous session. And you can fact check that, right? So you could upload your screen grab. And in fact, the shark photo that Ashley showed is a screenshot. So a little bit back to kind of the watermarking AI question. That's one that I just grabbed a screenshot myself off of the tweet. One of the more recent times that it went viral, possibly when her husband fell for it and we were talking about it. So a video can't be uploaded, no, but a screen grab of it can. And then it's a good first stop, because if there is a fact check that's been done by a reputable news organization, it should come up. If it's too early, if it's something is just breaking and you're not sure yet, and it may not pull up a fact check, that doesn't tell you anything yet. It's just that something is brand new. But it's a really nice first stop shop. Then you move on to reverse image search and other tools. Like I mentioned, InVid, that's a really good one. We're not demoing that today, but big fans. Yes. So of the PowerPoint, we're not going to share the slides, but we do have the cheat sheet. So at the end of the session, I'll make sure to bring that QR code back up so folks on Zoom can point their phones at their computer screens as well.
Yes, oh my God, sorry. With the cheat sheet, you'll see all these other tools, links to the Google News Initiative Training Center, where you can take some more lessons on these tools, but also we do training sessions for newsrooms. So if your colleagues in your newsroom want a deep dive into any of these tools or want to go over this again, we can set that up. So our contact information is there as well.
Anything else from Zoom? Okay, thumbs up. Who has heard of Pinpoint? Sweet. Who has used Pinpoint? Sweet. Okay, well, that's great. 100%. If you've heard of it, you've used it. I love that. That's already great. So Pinpoint is a tool that the Google News Initiative worked within Google to develop for only two groups of people, which are journalists and academic researchers. Those are the only groups of people that can access it right now. It's a free tool. It does a bunch of different things. I'm going to show you most of those. It is rapidly iterating. So every couple of weeks, I get information about a new feature. I'm going to show you two brand new ones, including a generative AI feature. And what it's meant to do is help you make sense of large document collections. So whether that's at the reporting level, maybe you got public records tranche has been delivered to you, or you've been collecting something over time. This is a great way to help you get your arms around it on day one. And potentially, like if you build something, let's say you cover city council, you're just constantly putting in the meeting agendas, you're downloading their Zooms off of YouTube, you're getting any other things that they are putting out, and you're just running that collection over time so that when news pops up, spot news, you can search through your collection for when's the last time this developer was referenced, or the teacher salary strike, right? Whatever that might be. So you can kind of build things that make sense over time. So I'll give some more use cases as we go along, but just kind of the basics help you make sense of large document collections. And when I say large, I mean large, potentially up to 200,000 documents in a single collection. When you get a Pinpoint account, which you all can and recommend that you do, you get 2 gigs of storage. If you use it for important work and you run out of storage, please write to the Pinpoint team whose information is on the cheat sheet or to us, and we will work to get you more space. That does not detract from the space that's part of your Drive or your Gmail. So if, like me, you're constantly at like 91%, it's totally separate. So don't have to worry about that. Okay, that was introducing Pinpoint. So these are all of the different ways that we have talked to journalists about how they've used it. And we're continually hearing of new use cases too. So if you have used it or you intend to, and you're using it for something really interesting, we would love to hear from you. We would love any kind of feedback as well. So I can't use it until it does this. I love it because it does that, whatever. We're always looking for new ways of making it come alive. Since we had 5 or 6 hands in the room of folks who have used it, does anybody want to just chime in with how they have? And I'll repeat it back on the mic. Oh, hey, look at that. A traveling mic. Here is a fella in the back.
We've used it to look through reports from facilities that treat kids in like residential mental health facilities.
Oh, wow.
And the incidents reports that they have filed. So we put them in a collection so that we can find different parts of that. We've used it with campaign finance reports, including handwritten reports. So there's different.
Perfect. Okay. So I think the folks on Zoom heard that. Anybody else want to weigh in?
Anyone else?
Those are awesome examples. Oh, we got another one.
We've been using it for migrant farm worker housing inspection reports, which are a mess and vary by state. So it's been pretty handy, but it's a challenge.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, great example. So I know, I mean, a number of organizations will look at the same thing in many places, right? So whether that's what you're doing, sir, or not, looking at housing inspections or campaign finance forms across all 50 states, you can build 50 collections. It does search through handwriting. So a lot of those things are handwritten, police reports, restaurant inspections, you name it. If it can be read, it can be found. And you can even have something handwritten and copy it and paste it into another file, and it will become copy and pastable typed out text without you having to retype it. So there's a lot of time saved, which I think is one of the ways to help think about how to integrate Pinpoint into your work, is letting a tool like this do some of the heavy lifting, things like transcription, which we'll talk about, things that take a lot of time, data entry, extracting data off of files, that you can then use your limited time and energy, because we only have so much every day, to do the things that only you can do, which developing new stories, interviewing folks, new sources, writing your wonderful stories, whatever that might be. So I'm going to walk through the slides just again to help you kind of get our arms around it together, and then we'll just do a live demo and I'll show you what a bunch of that stuff looks like. So searching through documents. So that's one of the first ways. You've uploaded a big collection. It's going to quickly break out for you. Let me see if I have that. It's going to break out names, locations, and organizations. Anything that Pinpoint and Google understands to be one of those, it's going to pull it out into a sidebar. So you can very quickly see, oh, this person gets talked a lot about in these 900 documents that I haven't had a chance to read through yet. And maybe that's where my story is. Maybe it isn't, right? But it's something to understand. We talked about handwriting. So I end up saying documents a lot, right? It feels like it kind of loses its meaning. Of course, I think of PDFs and Word docs. I think it's important to hover here because I want to talk about all the other things that it can take in and ingest. So PDFs, PowerPoints, if you cover an organization or something like the military, big companies, they love to share information on PowerPoints. It can read all of that. It can read text within a photo. So if I took a picture of this room, I'm looking for text I could read, maybe like a sticker on your laptop or the name on the water bottle, all readable. This morning, I took a picture of the name tags that hadn't yet been collected. And I haven't put it in Pinpoint yet, but I could quickly see, oh, was so-and-so here yet? Had they picked up their name tag by 9 a.m.? And then transcription. So it supports audio and video files, meaning upload an audio or video file of any of these types, which is pretty much all of them. And it's going to immediately start transcribing it for you. You don't have to tell it to do that. It understands that's what you want it to do. And it can do that in multiple languages. So I'll show you where that lives as well. This is one of the newer features. This is now available to anyone with a Pinpoint account, which is extracting data off of PDFs that are structured the same. So all campaign finance forms or any of the forms we just heard from the folks in the audience, 990s for nonprofits, you name it. If you have a bunch of them, you're going to annotate one and it's going to pull all of that information off of all of them simultaneously. I don't like to say that technology is magic, but that one kind of feels like it. And if you've ever spent days or even weeks doing that manually by data entry, you don't have to anymore. So that is available for everyone. This is what that looks like. Again, I'll do it live, but just to show you, it's more interesting. So it's pulling out key value pairs. This thing goes with that thing, A and B. Whole tables. And again, you don't have to do this page by page or PDF by PDF. You do it on one. As long as the others in your collection are structured the same, it's going to do it at the same time. And then you can export that as a CSV. Then you can really start working with it, right? You can start analyzing it, looking for what's interesting, build a visualization, whatever you then would do. So that's what the extraction looks like. Cool. It's also important to talk about privacy and security, and some of you might be bubbling up those questions in your minds right away. I see some head nods. So everything that you were to upload into Pinpoint is private to you and you alone, unless you choose to share it. And you can share it two ways. You can share it, I think of it as sideways, but like you would share a Google Doc with colleagues, with a person or two, maybe with your editor, say this is where this is CQ'd, whatever that looks like. Or you can now share it publicly and you can make things available to your audience that you've collected as a public service or something that they may want to look through on their own. So some of what I heard here might be things that are interesting for people to look through. What's this facility like? This assisted living facility, this childcare facility, what incident reports have they had? Restaurant inspections in my neighborhood. So we'll look at where those live too. So again, private to you and you alone, unless you choose to share it. What that means also is that Google is not looking at them. We're not training on them. They're not showing up in search results. They're not any part of LLM research. They're just yours. If there is a file that is so close to the vest that you wouldn't email it or you wouldn't put it in Drive, you probably wouldn't put it in Pinpoint either. So just making smart decisions about what that is. But it's really important to emphasize, again, they're just yours. And we want this to be a tool that's useful. And so if it wasn't secure and it wasn't private, it wouldn't be useful. Okay, so that's collaboration, which you've talked about. Generative AI, that's that brand new feature. So I'll show you this at the end, but this is what it looks like. So you can now ask questions of a document, and you can, as of last week, ask questions of an entire collection. So let's say you've got 30,000 documents. What do you want to know about them, right? Why did you collect them in the first place? You can ask, what are key themes? Give me an executive summary. You can search through for how many times does this person appear or this particular phrase that's used by whomever. Lots of interesting things to do. The other way that this is distinguished, similar to our other AI products, is it will take you to where it found that answer in the document set. So you don't have to take the AI's word for it. You get to click on the source link and it'll take you there. Does that all make sense? Question? Yes. So the question was, does this work for transcripts of audio and video? And the answer is yes. Cool. I want to show you the tool. We'll come back to the case studies. Any other questions at the moment before we just kind of get right in there? Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I just have two, but you can, for time, you can choose if you just want to answer one.
Okay.
But I'm curious if there's an API that you can hook into with this. So
There
that
is
you can,
not.
There's not. Okay. And then you said that it can handle documents if they have the same structure. Is there some flexibility if you have a tranche of documents, but perhaps the table structures are different because they've changed over time?
Yeah. So if you're doing the exporting data feature and if your documents don't exactly match, it probably just won't export the ones that don't match the one that you annotate. Exactly. So you group them into a collection of these are all the same, and that might be 30 and it might be 300. It just won't extract if the data on that one doesn't match. If data extraction is what you do and you run into we've heard interesting things about when stuff's redacted or what if the handwriting goes down the side of the page, please reach out. We are always looking for ways of making sure that the tool can deal with documents in the real world. Thank you for those questions.
You might get to this, but one of the challenges that we've had is Pinpoint likes individual documents to look at as opposed to like the same report, but in the same PDF, like multiple reports in the same PDF. And so I just throw that out there. You might get to that
Yeah.
or not get to
I actually have not heard that one. That is great for me to understand. So the PDF is many pages and it's got the same thing multiple times in there. Yeah, I would think, okay, the way to do that is probably to break apart the PDF. That's a great use case. All right, so let's take a look in here. So again, it's free. It's just for journalists and researchers. If you would like to get access to that generative AI, that is a closed beta. The link is right here on the homepage. This homepage was just redesigned also last week. So you can just click apply here. That's also in your cheat sheet. That generative AI is only available in these countries. I just want to read them out. The US, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, India, and Mexico. So we hope that that will spread globally more soon, but those are where that exists right now. Pinpoint is available globally. Cool. All right, I'm just going to click in to get started. I'm going to actually log in. So the first thing I want to show you is the explore page. So even if you're not a person that's going to upload documents or that's not the work that you do, you can still make really good use of this explore page where the public collections live. So if you were to publish something publicly to your audience, this is where it would go. So all kinds of interesting organizations here. You will probably recognize a lot of them. I usually just kind of scroll through it. We don't have to look at them all, but CNN Brazil, CPAIR in Chile, La Nación, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Associated Press, all kinds of good stuff. I'm going to go to the AP because we all know and love the AP. And this is what they have made public for anyone to use. And we can take a look at as well. So lots of newsy stuff. Federal court documents related to Epstein, things from the Lewiston, Maine shooting, three collections about the Lahaina wildfires last year, all stuff that the AP has either done public records requests or they've collected through other means, and again, made public as a public service. So these are all there for anyone to use. And I have some case studies of folks just simply finding interesting stories in here. This can also be a way of getting your own collection started, right? So maybe you're reporting on one of these things, you've got your own 7 documents, and you're really looking for some of the ones the AP has already found. You can go download them. I'm just going to open one of these. This is what a collection looks like. And here's this document. So I could just go in and I can download this original file. Lots of interesting things that can be done with the collections here. This is what the extraction sidebar looks like. So this is what happens anytime you put even just one document into a collection. It's going to immediately pull out all of the names. Anything that Pinpoint understands to be the same person, if it's a public figure, it will roll up together. We can't teach it that about private citizens, but it does understand that JFK, for example, is referenced as John F. Kennedy, JFK, President Kennedy, all the same guy. And I have a JFK document collection, so I bring that one up. Organizations. So this can be really interesting. Again, the city council example, some developer, right? Some teachers union, whatever. All the times that gets mentioned. So if I click on FEMA right here, it's going to pull up every document where FEMA is referenced. And then locations as well. So of course the locations here are in Hawaii. So this is kind of what a collection looks like. Again, this is one that the AP created for us. There's also date extraction. This is relatively new as well. Anytime we release a new feature, by the way, for the Pinpoint users that already have accounts, new features apply going forward. So if you go, I don't have the dates on my collections, it's probably because you built that collection before dates were extracted, but this is where that lives now. So I can go in here and I can say what documents are available from before the wildfires, which were in early August. And the hardest part of the demo is getting the dates right, which I've already done wrong. So now what I have is any document that's from January to August of last year, August 1, and that references FEMA. So I've started to just kind of really narrow in on what's here. What is it that I'm looking for, right? So that's what those public collections look like. And again, if you were to publish publicly, this is where they would show up. If you think that you might do that, a pro tip would be work on, so what we have to do on the back end is you will essentially say, I work for this organization, and then the team will then go make sure that that's true so that nobody is publishing collections on behalf of an organization they don't work for. And so that takes some time to just verify that you match with this, right? So if you want to publish something publicly, don't do it on the day that you roll out your investigation. Start working on that like 2 weeks ahead of time. I want to also show you before I hop over to my workspace where all those language settings live. So they're up here in the settings toolbar and they're global. And I bring that up because there is a way a little bit around it. So the first question is entity display language, which means my documents are in this language. My documents are mostly in English. Audio file spoken language. My audio and video files are in this language. So if you switch between languages, maybe you interview somebody in English, you want that transcribed. The next one you're going to upload is in Spanish. Change the language here before you do the upload where the language is different. Does that make sense? So you can't say, put these documents in this language and these in this other, but the use case of I'm working in multiple languages, you just change it before you make the next upload. These are where, and these are the languages, by the way. So they're about 12 to 15. It's not all the world's languages. It's only the ones that we know the transcriptions will be accurate enough to be useful. And we don't release new languages until we know that that's true. We did recently release Russian and Ukrainian for newsy reasons. So you'll see those in here. There are more languages in entity display because that's easier to do than an accurate transcription of audio. Make sense? Cool. All right. And then here in my workspace, this is where you build collections. And I'm going to do the data extraction in just a moment here, but just call out so you can see the little lock makes it clear this is mine. And if I've shared it or if someone's shared it with me, I get that little symbol. So just to really make clear sort of what the status is of any collection. And you can see here that I have some that my colleagues have shared with me. And I'm going to actually go into this one. So this is a collection of NASA documents, largely related to the Apollo missions. Again, this collection was created a while ago, so we don't see that date extraction here. I could re-upload these and I would have that. We get people that are named a lot, astronauts, presidents, organizations like NASA and Capcom, locations like Earth, which is always referenced in NASA transcripts. Just always love that one. And I want to show you some of those special search features. So there's a division within NASA, the Spacecraft Tracking and Data Acquisition Network. And I've searched for STDN and it's called up this photo. So the pinpoint highlighter is the green. And I think of it a little bit like the tool as being like, if you're looking for this, you probably want to look at this photo, right? I've got a photo in here that, was anybody at NICAR? Cool. The pinpoint user, wonderful. So I'm going to go find it. But in the hotel in Baltimore where NICAR was, the wallpaper was prints of old newspapers. So I took a photo of that and search for the word Baltimore in this collection. And it's bringing up my photo that, again, I just tossed it into Pinpoint. This is a picture of wallpaper. And yet I'm able to annotate it. I've searched for the word Baltimore. It's found it. This highlighter, I applied it on a different day. And I can copy this whole thing. And I can open up a new document. And it's all pastable. So I'm just handwriting, text within photos, making it really, really usable that it's copy and pastable. Y'all with me on that? Cool. Does anybody like, I know what I need that for. All right, I'm going to go back to my NASA collection. Sorry, I like the wallpaper thing. I'm going to show you the handwriting. I have heard from folks anecdotally that even if they aren't able to read the handwriting, if they are copying it and pasting it, that Google's guess is pretty good. So I always say if it's legible, it can be read. Maybe if it's not legible, it can be read. I haven't tested this yet, but keep that in mind.
I've tested it. I was doing some family research and I was uploading like old voter rolls and it did read cursive handwriting from like 1950 something. So not saying it's going to read everything, but pretty well. And these were like scanned paper documents with cursive writing on them, and it understood them.
That's amazing. So this is what this one example looks like. Pinpoint has found the word Loomis, which I searched for, and it found the word state, which the handwriting is pretty good, but it's also sideways and it's in cursive, and yet it's still readable. So I could do what I need to do with this. And again, we think about things that are handwritten, whether it's archival material, as Ashley's given an example, maybe your own notes, margin notes. Maybe you walk past somebody at a hearing and you take a little photo of their notebook. It can be found. Any questions about what we're seeing? Yeah, yes. Oh, she's bringing the mic.
My question is in terms of, for example, if we're taking a lot of screenshots, we're doing visual investigation, right? And we are looking at emojis. Does the sidebar also filter by emoji used, for example, or items that aren't necessarily written, but they are pertinent in terms of researchers or journalists looking at the use of emojis for certain words online to evade content moderation or things like that?
That is really interesting. I don't know the answer to that. That is a great
I will
question.
follow up
Yeah.
with the Pinpoint team, because a lot of, and if you start using, please leave feedback, because a lot of the features that have been built were based on feedback we've gotten from the tool. But that's a really good one, because I know that's a popular thing on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, to use emojis to replace words to get past like the content filtering. So I will definitely follow up with that.
So what it won't do to the first part of your question is it won't break those out in the sidebar, because they're not names, organizations, or places. Those are the things that breaks out on its own in the analysis. But the other way that you can use Pinpoint is to search for something, a particular phrase, a block of text, a word. And so I think that's probably something that's easily testable, is a photo with some emoji on it, search through for that emoji, see if it comes up. I don't know. That is a great question. And thank you for the use case. I want to show y'all, we only have 5 minutes left. So I want to show you data extraction and the generative AI. So I'm just going to do this one from the beginning. So I'm going to start with a new private collection. This is what it looks like just to build one. And I'm going to bring in our documents. So these are all truly exciting files, which you'll see when I open them up. Which are, you know, when you search for a country on Google and you get like the CIA country fact book, that's what these are. So they're like the second result that comes up. So there's nothing newsy in them at all, but they are all structured the same. They're being uploaded right now. So they're coming in. You can see the analysis kind of happening just as we go. So I have 10 of them. I might not have actually highlighted them all. Oh, they're there. Okay, so that's how fast it uploads. So I got my 10 documents. And then the thing that I'm going to do here is it's this beta. This is a public beta. Everyone with a Pinpoint account has this now. Extract structured data. So I'm telling Pinpoint, yes, all of these are things I want to extract and extract the same. So it's going to just work on understanding what's in the documents. This also only takes a minute or two. And then we're going to annotate one of the documents. If you are using this, and I'm thinking of this person's question from earlier, if you begin by annotating one document and you later realize there's a better one that would be what we call the golden document, you can just switch that. So you don't lose hours of annotation or extraction. You can just kind of work within. You don't have to start again from scratch. So I'm starting by annotating. It chooses a document at random. Every time I do this, it does it differently. But we've got US right here. So I'm just going to start by drawing boxes around stuff, which again is fun to watch. Other people do, I know. And it's working on understanding. I'm only annotating the value, and it thinks that this is the key. So I'm just going to fix it and say, no, it goes with country report. So there's lots you can do here. And I'm just going to add a few more in. I'm drawing the boxes all the way to the right because some of these documents have words that just run longer than these do. Like the word Afghanistan probably takes up more space than United States. And so what's happened here, just as I've done that, I'm going to bring up the bottom bar, is it's taken all of that similar information off of all of the documents at the same time. So they're all right here. And so again, the information is what it is, but I didn't have to annotate 10 documents. I only had to do one, and it's pulling it off at the same time. I'm going to also do a table, and then we'll extract it and take a look at it. So I'm going to do this table called largest cities because that's what it is. And I got to give it a name. And this table is bigger than it looks here. And so I have lots of options as I go, but I'm just going to make it bigger. I'm going to save it, and it's going to do all of that same for these 10 PDFs at the same time. So if I click on my largest cities tab, here are the largest cities in Afghanistan, Brazil, etc., which it all pulled off just as I was working on the one. And so when this is in good enough shape, you have those options like clear your annotation, start again, reprocess, etc. They're all here. I can just extract this. This is what we saw on the little GIF on the slides. I'm downloading it. They go into a zip file, which I will unzip. And then I'm just going to bring those into a sheet. I'm just going to bring one of them in. I know I'm going really fast, so I'll tell y'all that in the cheat sheet, there's a link to the video for how to do this specifically. And again, oh, hang on. I've gone into the wrong file. I can't talk and do this at the same time as every time. ISOJ, that is what we're looking for. Here's my CSV that just extracted. I'm going to bring all of this in. So here's what we got. All that data is now in workable format. Everything we pulled off of those PDFs, which we didn't actually even pull it off of Afghanistan. Pinpoint did that. We pulled it off of the US. And so I can work with this, right? I can now start sorting it. I can make sense of it. What I really, really like is this validation link. This is going to take you to the exact point in your collection where any of this information came from. So you can always go look at it in context, especially if you go, that one looks weird. I think it's missing a 0, or, you know, things that stick out, or I just, now that I know what my story is, right? I'm going to go look at everything that surrounds that. So the validation link makes a lot of sense. Okay, we are at time. So I'm going to lastly just show you that generative AI feature. And then I'll tell you that Ashley and I will be here all afternoon. So we're happy to take your questions. So these are also the very newsy Federalist Papers, just a few hundred years old. And so I'm asking, what are key themes in this collection? And so this is a flyout sidebar. It's just on top of my extraction sidebar that's still right here. Once you're in the beta, you will have this. This is where it is, where it works. And so this LLM has given me what it thinks are the key themes of the Federalist Papers. And if they're underlined in purple, I can go exactly to where it got that information from because I have show sources turned on. So I'm just going to click on the first one, and it's taking me to, here's where we got this. Here's what we think the Federalist Papers are about. So we can go check it out for ourselves. And I can open any one of these and learn a little bit more about it. I can also ask questions of just the paper. So I'm going to ask who is the author, even though we can see it right there. Sometimes that's buried in 56 pages of Senate testimony. So it's working on it. I can also share that this has now switched from me asking questions of a collection to asking questions of a document. So it's just calling that out that I've done that. And it says, oh, the author is John Jay. Here's where we got this information. So I think the possibilities for this are really interesting. The collection level Gen AI query is brand new. And so I would love to know if you do end up using this, how you've used it, what's helpful about it. I'm only thinking of questions like what are key themes and who is the author, but when you're working with live documents and you're doing reporting, the questions you're going to come up with are going to be really, really interesting. Okay, that's all the time that we have. This is a survey for what you thought of the training. If you wouldn't mind taking it, we would appreciate it. And I'll bring up the cheat sheet QR code in about 2 minutes when I see these phones go down.
Yes, please give us your feedback. Be as honest as you need. We don't get easily offended. It's fine. So
yeah. How's that? Nope. Oh, it's because it's in Zoom.
oh man.
Let me do this. How about that? Need a little space at the bottom. Okay, so this is the survey. And again, I'll bring up the cheat sheet QR code in just a minute or two. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you spending your lunch hour with us.
Thank you.
QR code is on the screen for the cheat sheet. Thank you.
Thank you so
Hi,
much.
thanks for all your questions. I know.